Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm your host FAIZA with a prayer. May Allah keep you all safe and healthy and blessed, and may Allah fill this world with justice and peace and hasten the appearance of Imam of our time, inshallah. Ameen. Today we will be discussing some kind of top stories, whatever is going on regarding Gaza, Israel perspective, and recently there is a visit and visit going on between Pakistan and Iran. So we will try to understand what's the situation over there, and we will also try to look inside the situation of the government and Benjamin Netanyahu, how he is facing word criticism on the situation within Gaza, because children and families are dying out of hunger, misas, bombing, and all that. So we will try to understand what is the current status of Gaza hunger starvation war, and we will also discuss these things in further detail. We do have very prestigious guests with us. We do have Sayyid Shabir Razavi. He is a political commentator, and we do have Dr. Inayatullah Andarabi with us. He is also researcher, analyst, and writer. Assalamu alaikum to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really grateful for your time. Shabir bhai, first of all, I would like your viewpoint on especially the current situation within Gaza, because this is something very important. Innocent children are dying every moment, every passing moment. So how do you see the situation and the kind of aid going on over there, and what is current status of that situation?
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Firstly, condolences to all the martyrs in Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon, and the other axis of resistance who are giving daily martyrs, without any doubt. Plus our supplications to those who have survived with amputations, with arms and legs lost, blind. It really is, quite often I've been talking about this, and yourself, plus also our other esteemed guest, Dr. Andarabi itself, for the last 18, 19, 20 months. It appears that we are really losing the vocabulary to describe the crimes being committed by this wretched regime in Tel Aviv. It's not only barbaric, but it's beastly. Even the animals do not kill unless they're hungry. Here, as one of the Knesset members, who was, I think, a former general in the Israeli offensive force, said that the regime is now just killing for a hobby. That's one thing. Another of the Knesset members said killing the babies is fine, and every child, every little baby needs to be killed because potentially they are the future resistance. So they've got this paranoia, they've got this mental approach to it, as Hearst in a recent article described it as though the Zionist regime is on a rampage to just annihilate, to kill. As I said, their own member of Knesset said they're doing it for a hobby. It's not only for a hobby, but it appears to be an activity that they sort of inflict on humanity, on mankind, whereby we have become possibly numb to seeing 100, 200 people being killed on a daily basis now. It's sort of, it doesn't even warrant headlines these days. There was an article recently published, I think today or yesterday, in The Guardian. It talked about all the killings and so on, but didn't even mention the word Israel in a 2,000-word article. So that's another angle, if you like, the way the media is continuing to portray this as though it's a natural disaster. People are just being killed for no reason at all. And then you touched on the starvation side of it. The Zionist entity is has got a sort of history to back itself, because our own government, British government, during Churchill's time, starved 3 million Bengalis in South Asia. Just didn't provide food. The food was diverted in the ships to the Allied forces, and Churchill, in his racist comment, said that these Bengalis breed like rats, therefore they need to be killed, if you like. So the Zionist entity really has a backing of all the imperial powers who have done heinous crimes over the last 100, 200 years, whether it's the French in Algeria, whether, as I said, the British in South Asia and East Africa and Malaysia, Americans in Vietnam, the French in Southeast Asia and Vietnam. So really, when the European leaders talk about reprimanding the Zionist entity, these are just words. They have no firepower behind it. They're not really willing to take any action to really support the words that they are articulating in the last few days. And people get very excited that, oh, Britain has said this, or Canada has said this, or France has said this, that, we are going to review our trade relationship. What does review mean? If you want to sort of stop trade with Israel, it's really not a difficult thing for them to do, because they did that very clearly in the case of Ukraine and Russia. All kinds of sanctions were applied to Russia 2-3 years ago. So the European Union, the collective West, does not really want to do anything concrete, anything realistic, anything that would have an impact on the dire situation that is occurring in Gaza and has continued to exasperate over the last 18-20 months now. We don't know when the Zionist entity will see the sense, or should I say, lose their madness completely and destroy the whole of the Gaza Strip, as many of the politicians in the Zionist entity have been saying for months on end. The other aspect is, sister, that the Zionist entity soldiers have posted on their social media very proudly as to the crimes that they are committing on a daily basis. And of course, the other aspect is that over 90% of the Zionists living in the land between the river and the sea think that Netanyahu and his government is actually not going completely sort of trying to destroy Gaza. They think they're being soft, actually. And at the same time, the majority of the people in the Zionist entity feel that Gaza should be ethnically cleansed, West Bank should be ethnically cleansed, and then the project of Greater Israel is to be set in motion by taking parts of Lebanon, Syria, whole of Jordan, part of Egypt, part of Iraq, and part of Hejaz. So yes, we are in a situation where humanity has really lost itself completely. And even now, if the media and the politicians think that what Israel is doing is defending itself, are proven to be utterly immoral, unethical, and without any humanity in them. And again, we also had our conservative leader, the current conservative leader, saying that what Israel is doing is correct, and it should continue to do that. And then because Macron and Starmer and the Canadian new Prime Minister have used some stronger words than they have in the past, they think that that is sufficient. But what we really have to realize is that not only the collective West, but also the majority of the Muslim countries have really continued to provide sustenance to the Zionist entity. Only 2 days ago, we saw shipload of food and vegetables and so on coming from Turkey, docking in Haifa port, and then also from Jordan, continuous sort of supply of food going to the Zionist entity, while people are going hungry, not only hungry, but starving on a daily basis. And we've seen horrendous pictures of kids just dying because they have nothing to sustain their bodies.
Thank you, Shabir Bhai, for sharing a true, real picture of the current situation to some extent. And it's really true that words are not enough to reflect what is going on in Gaza, and the people and innocent children who are burning in fire and are dying out of hunger, and mothers who are just going for taking some food for their children are just being targeted through Israeli IDF, sort of soldiers or whatsoever we call them. This is really, really. Beyond words, we can't express the kind of pain they are going through. So, Dr. Andarabi, what Shabir Bhai has mentioned, so this is one aspect. Obviously, it's a part of this huge freedom fight which Palestinians are obviously fighting from past 75 years, and this is kind of the time when everyone is watching in their through cameras and all that. So how do you see this whole situation, and if you would like to add anything what Shabir Bhai has mentioned, especially when these superpowers like America and UK and France and whatsoever, these they say we are going to pause these trades, and then there's a shift of little bit in kind of our international media as well, that it is not going well in Gaza and all that. So how do you see this kind of hypocrisy when from past 19 months no one is able to see anything, and now suddenly they are doing this kind of lip service, as Shabir Bhai also mentioned this aspect as well. And along with that, if you would like to add something regarding a role of kind of China and Japan and other countries who are able to stop this genocide. Do you see that? They can stop, but they don't do it. So why do you think they can't do it or they don't stop? Because China is a huge power, Japan is a huge power, and many other countries have so much power. And if they stand together or whatsoever, really care about the people of Gaza, they can do something at least. So how do you see this aspect, especially, and what would you like to share about that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, there was something very, very, very beautiful which Shabir Azvi used the phrase when he said losing the vocabulary. That's what you also said, that we are not finding words now. But yes, that's very true. But the truth is that using words or finding words to describe something or falling short of words, this is the side issue, because whether we are able to describe it or not is one thing, but the truth is what's happening in Gaza, what they are going through, is the real issue. It was a couple of days before, WhatsApp was making rounds. It came to me also that Piers Morgan is now, she is also condemning what's happening in Gaza. But the person who sent to me, that person also agreed that what then? What's big deal about it? it was Piers Morgan's problem that he was not condemning what should have been. It was his problem. Now, if he's condemning it, how does it make a difference? If the children are killed, if what's happening in Gaza, if our heart is bleeding, does it soothe our heart? Does it make any iota of difference? That Piers Morgan or he or so they were not with Israel, now they were with Israel, now they are condemning. It's significant in its own place. I don't want to downplay its significance and importance, but as far as the real injury is concerned, the real pain is concerned, how does it make a difference to that? So, as I said, this reflects something. This reflects the pain and agony when you say short of vocabulary, short of words. But the truth is that words or no words, the reality is there, and the reality should change. That's the main thing. And now, coming to what's happening, we must make a cutoff. When we study what has happened, we must make a cutoff at that point in time, say about 400, 500 years before, when Europe started modernizing and bringing people from Africa as slaves, enslaving them, and the slave trade went on, and the huge capital, the huge wealth that was generated, it was basically generated then. People were worth nothing. One of the slave descendants, Eric Williams, who was later Prime Minister of Trinidad, he was a descendant of slaves. Very brilliant guy. He did a PhD, I think, from Cambridge, or Brother Shabir maybe know him. He did a PhD, and then he published his PhD thesis. He asked his friends for help so that he can publish. Now, his book is very widely read. Uh, the British capitalism and the slavery. It is very widely read. It was in those times, as I was saying about this slavery, that the whole yes, sorry, this point was going out of my mind. Yes, Eric Williams says about France. He says anybody who is anything now. I mean, there was someone who was nobody, but if he is somebody now, it is because of slave trade. It is because of that wealth which came during that time, and after that it was, we don't know. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala knows best. Industrial revolution happened in Britain, and already there was a lot of money. Industrial revolution brought again a huge revolution. The GDP, the capacity to produce, it multiplied many times. And when you have money and when you have means to produce, you can do anything. And that's what happened. A huge capitalist enterprise developed. So at that time, what happened is a power relation developed, slave and master. This power relation was detrimental to both. The slave was as good a descendant and offspring of Adam as was the master. Both were the progeny of Adam. Both were equal human beings. Slave was reduced to the level of slave. Master was elevated to the level of master. Both the positions were unhuman. And this was the greatest dehumanizing thing that happened. So, master-slave relationship, this power dynamic was established then. If you understand this power dynamic, we can easily understand what just Shabir was talking about Churchill, what he did to Bengalis. Because there are words, I have read Churchill's writings, he does not recognize them as humans. They're not humans. So human, subhuman or non-human, but this, I mean, this power dynamic, masters as humans, slaves as non-humans. Now, this defines the power structure of the current world in which we are living. We are not slaves this time. Nobody is slave as they were at that time. The slaves were such at that time that slaves were bought and sold. Uh, they were they were. I mean, if someone's mother, if she gave birth to 10 boys, but if you are this 10 boys would be sold at 10 places to 10 buyers. And if you ask this one boy, do you have siblings? You said no, I don't have family. Although they didn't have families because they were treated as things. They were treated as things and goods. That's not now. But now there is the power dynamic is same. The relation is same. It is same slave master relation. If you had closely watched Donald Trump's visit to West Asia, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, it was simply a master slave thing. What was he saying there, and how was he being received there? It's so disgusting. So this relationship still exists, and our brothers and sisters in Gaza are not treated as humans. The tragedy is not treated as human tragedy. The problem is when Europe started modernizing, and then the slave trade and industrial revolution, and then enlightenment. The biggest problem is which we are facing now, and about which I can't talk much because it will go into more detail. The thing is that we have a sort of a worldview, a philosophy of life, a way of life has developed, which is forming the bedrock of the civilization. This civilization is common to West and the whole China, Russia. They subscribe to the basis of this civilization. This is a godless civilization, all directed to money, all directed to economic growth. That's the end of it. So these you are asking why China is not doing something. That's very true. I think we can take a demonstration, we can do boycott, but China can do something real. But nobody does. They won't do because I mean as Yemen does, for example, they do something real. But China is so powerful, they can do, but they are part of a game. They are part of this civilization in which they can't antagonize each other. I mean, China's economic growth phenomenal, but if there were no buyers in Western Europe, in America, where is China? I mean, businesses, businesses they need producers and buyers, and producers and buyers are mutually dependent on each other. So, so the fact is that no, we don't see any decisive intervention from any of these. The only the only country in this world which has stood by it is Iran. But it's not the time to speak about it. It needs some more detailed session. But I will only just bring it to your try to have your attention on this and the attention of our viewers that the Islamic Republic of Iran, it is putting something, when things go wrong and you start putting them right. It is putting it is trying to do something right, which has gone wrong since the last 1500 years. Do you expect it to shoulder everything now? It's a small baby. It's a small baby, and it is shouldering the responsibility of putting things back on track, which had gone astray for hundreds of years. And in this, with this huge responsibility, do you expect Iran to do everything? Go to war with India because India is doing something in Kashmir. Go to war with Israel. Go to war with America. I mean, Iran did what it can, and it still continues. But obviously, there are limitations. There, it has its own capacity, and but the point is the only power, the only country committed to it is Iran, and Iran is mobilizing support for it. It's mobilizing. We will come to this Shahbaz visit shortly, but that was also that Iran is mobilizing support of countries, Pakistan, others, in favor of Gaza and against Israel. So that's something which I wanted to say about this, and yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Andarabi. Shabir bhai, what would you like to share, especially regarding the what Dr. Andarabi has mentioned, especially in terms of when it comes to ethics, morality, law, and versus business? In the other words, we say, as Dr. Andarabi also mentioned about obviously China trade, and if we look at the figures, in past 2 years even they have been trading with Israel as well, even though they have very soft image around the globe in many ways. I mean, obviously that's their own policy and everyone, but the reason I'm trying to mention this is sometimes we think that people standing up with us are our friends. So, how important for us to understand and have that kind of wisdom that is fine for a strategic interest or whatsoever interest which each country might have. They might be getting together, but they shouldn't see each other. They should see each other in true colors and true ethical, moral, legal, whatsoever values. So, how do you see this aspect, as well as if you would like to share some aspects regarding current situation within Israel itself? Because we have been watching different news, obviously. There are many thousands of people who have been leaving Israel, and there is so much internal pressure as well on Netanyahu and external as well. And obviously, globally, he is the kind of most hated person. And so, how do you see this aspect? How do you think he might be dealing with this kind of hatred around the globe and still living and still doing what he is doing? And Trump versus Netanyahu relationship at this stage, because he is Trump is trying to do things better for him in many ways. So how do you see all these three aspects?
Well, firstly, insofar as Netanyahu is concerned, he obviously has a satanic attitude because we know very well Satan does not sleep. He creates havoc and evil all over the world, but has 24 hours continues with his evil. That's why sometimes people have dubbed Netanyahu as Netanyahu, because he has that characteristic. Ordinary people like us would be rather reluctant even to kill a mice or kick a cat. And if we did that, we would have, sleepless nights for a little while, saying that, how the hell did I do this? But obviously, Netanyahu does not have any qualms, any reservations, any anxiety at all. Of course, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but perhaps he has a mad streak in him, but certainly it's a satanic way of living when you don't have any thought at all of what the crimes that you're committing. Secondly, the media and even Piers Morgan that Dr. Andrabi referred to may have had his, seeing the light after such a long time, is that everyone is saying it's Netanyahu, Netanyahu, Netanyahu. But as I said, the facts and the figures are such that between 85 to 95% of the population living in the Zionist entity not only support their government, but actually feel that their government is not being more vicious, is not sort of committing even more crimes. They feel that they should, perhaps even, in the beginning of this genocidal war being committed on the Palestinians, they were talking about dropping atom bombs. Not only the Israeli politicians, but also certain American senators and congressmen have said that. So they have this attitude. So it's not, if Netanyahu goes, some other lunatic sits in that chair, I don't think the policy is going to change. Because if you look at it, from the inception of this Zionist entity in 1948, each of the prime ministers have been speaking in the manner of the Palestinians, as Dr. Andrabi was talking about, as subhumans, animals, whether it was Golda Meir, whether it was Ariel Sharon, whether it was Shimon Peres, you name it. From the beginning till now, they have continued. Yes, incrementally, one would say that they have become more vicious and more sort of fascist approach to their policies. But I would say that, the Zionist entity is even worse than the Nazis, because what happened during the Second World War, that the crimes of the Nazis were not visible on our mobile phone 24/7. It was hidden. It was sort of, after history that people dug it out. Today, these crimes are being committed in broad daylight. Even daylight is ashamed of being daylight, because the way it's committing these kind of horrendous, barbaric sort of killing on a daily basis. So in that sense, the Zionist entity is perhaps acting worse than the Nazis, because as I said in my opening comments, they proudly talk about it, they proudly post their crimes on social media, and their politicians, their spokesmen come and try to defend each and every aspect of the crime being committed. They deny that there is any starvation taking place. They deny that they're killing babies. They deny that they have bombed hospitals. They deny that they have destroyed the whole education infrastructure. They deny that they kill sort of journalists and reporters in Gaza. They deny everything, because that's part of the strategy of the Zionist entity. What is called Hasbara in Hebrew is to make propaganda in such a way that people start believing that propaganda. But Alhamdulillah, with the grace of the Almighty, their lies are now actually becoming very clear, that they are absolutely lying about everything, and the general public is seeing the veils being removed from the Zionist propaganda. So, and that's why I think what has been fascinating in nearly 18, 19, 20 months of this genocide in Gaza is that people all over the world, forget about the political and the sort of media elite and the business elite, not really supporting the people in Gaza, but the ordinary people, whether it's in Los Angeles or Washington or Tokyo or Seoul or any city on this planet, in the sort of non-majority Muslim countries have taken to the streets protesting against their government's policies and really want those policies to change rapidly. And of course, there is a discussion now taking place that there might be ceasefire. I don't know whether we'll have time to talk about that, but certainly, anything coming out of Washington and Tel Aviv really cannot be trusted because they break, they don't keep their promises. But hopefully, that there is some kind of cessation of bombing and starvation taking place in a very rapid manner, I hope.
Thank you, Shabir Bhai. Shabir Bhai, before I move on to Dr. Andarabi, I would like your viewpoint on the recent meeting of, our Pakistani government top leadership, along with our Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir, with the other side, obviously Army head office head. So, how do you see this meeting? They are meeting up in Iran and the kind of negotiation and conversation. So how do you see that? Anything in particular you would like to highlight on that? We have like 15 minutes, so I would like you to conclude in 5 minutes, and I will give 10 minutes to Dr. Andarabi so that he could share his point of view.
Yes, please give Dr. Andarabi more time on this because he's better qualified than myself to talk on this issue.
That's your viewpoint. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, what I would say is that Iran and Pakistan have a 1,500 kilometer border. They are next door neighbors. They have, many of the communities from Pakistan and Iran travel. I'm talking about ordinary people, not just sort of business people and sort of politicians, but ordinary people travel back and forth between these two countries. And of course, the insurgency in Balochistan has had an impact on Iran itself over the years. And of course, we know last year what happened, that Iran bombed some of these Baloch terrorist places in Balochistan, and then obviously Pakistan responded as well. Then of course there's the sort of oil pipeline issue as well. Iran has constructed the pipeline up to the border of Pakistan, but Pakistan, due to the pressure from Washington, has not been able to take it forward, which would alleviate a lot of energy issues that Pakistan faces, the load shedding that takes place. It has an impact on industry, on business, and so on. So it will sort of create a better situation as far as energy is concerned to Pakistan. But because of, as I said, the pressure from Washington, politicians in the past, over the last 20, 25 years, have not really taken that further. That's one sort of issue. Secondly, of course, even Rahbar pointed out in the meeting yesterday that Pakistan has to move away from the, I'm paraphrasing this, to move away from the sort of axis with Washington, because on the one hand, Pakistan has very good relationship with China, and as we saw in this 3-4 day crisis between India and Pakistan, that it was the Chinese sort of technology and firepower which really helped Pakistan. So Pakistan is, I suppose, trying to ride two horses at the same time. They want to have relationship with Washington and the West. The reason is very clear, because the Pakistani elite, whether it's the military elite, the business elite, and dare I say even the sort of middle classes, they still have this illusion of the West, that they want to send their kids to study in USA, Canada, UK. But I'm glad that Trump is sort of throwing a lot of these students out of their universities and sort of cancelling their visas. So perhaps our elite will realize that maybe it's better to send the students to study in Tehran or Beijing or Moscow or Malaysia rather than sort of Washington. So our elite, just for miserly sort of status to get a British or American or Canadian passport, they really sell themselves very cheap. And that's the bottom line, because that's what happens. That, I mean, I was reading recently statistics that nearly 80% of the sort of police force's children in Pakistan, the elite police forces children, are studying in USA and Canada and UK, because those governments have promised them that, you know, after 5 years, 6 years, there your kids will get British passport. You know, soon I think the British passport will lose its luster, because the British government, the way it's going, is that it may take all three of our passports because we have Muslim names, so it might have no value in due course. It's an issue that I think the Pakistani elite has to really understand, that they can't ride two horses. They have either to be with the BRIC countries wholly and solely, or at the same time abandon China, Russia, and of course, you know, we don't have much time. You know, the reason why Imran Khan ended up incarcerated because of his trip to Moscow and so on. But that really shows very clearly that the Pakistani elite is really looking after themselves rather than the nation that should be sort of their main priority. Just an interesting point, which your audience might be interested in yourself. Last year, over 900,000 Pakistanis left Pakistan. 900,000, nearly a million. They went wherever, to West Asia, to the Gulf countries, UK, Europe, whatever. So if you have that kind of leakage from a country, and a lot of them were educated, then the country could be in serious trouble in that way. But I think Pakistan has to build up long-term, sustainable, good relationships with Iran. I think that's where Pakistan's destiny is. Because I think trying to think that the West is coming to the rescue of Pakistan, I think is not only an illusion, but it's a delusion.
Thank you, Shabir Bhai. Dr. Rabi, how would you like to conclude about Pakistan and Iran relationship, and what are the most important aspects you would like to share with us regarding the whole situation? And if anything you would like to mention, whatever Shabir Bhai has mentioned, you can add that. So you have a kind of 8 minute, 9 minute now.
Yes, I will say something about it. I was watching it closely. But something relating to our previous discussion about Israel, I want to tell you and the other viewers, I want to refer to you today's news item in the Indian news portal Different. Different is it's owned and edited by a very senior figure, Shekhar Gupta, and it is available online. It's about a film festival. They call it fest. They in the Indian state of South Indian state of Chennai, which most of us know as Madras before, but after Madras it's called now Tamil Nadu. Now the capital is called Chennai. In Chennai, these film festivals are going on of different countries. There was a film festival scheduled for 29th and 31st of May. This May, just a day after, 29th to 31st. This has been cancelled. This was an Israeli film festival. This has been cancelled, and the people who are organizing it, it's called Indo-Sign Appreciation Foundation, ICAF. It's a private organization but funded by the government. This organization, they said that what is happening there, we must not let Israeli film festival to be held in Chennai, and what they said was something which I want to definitely share with you. Yes, the association alleged. I'm reading now from the print. The association, that association which I told you, the association alleged that the festival indirectly supports the Israeli government's actions and legitimizes its attempt to be recognized as a normal nation like others. So they believe Israel is not a normal nation. It's not a nation. It's not a country. It's simply a terrorist outpost, West's outpost there in that heartland of Islam. So this is in today's print. People can read it in detail. Now coming to this Shahbaz visit, it was very important, very significant. You know what happened on the night of 7th May, India bombarded some sites in Pakistan. Then we heard that Pakistan has downed some India's planes, fighter planes, particularly Rafale planes. Then there was some they said they have bombarded airfields. But I mean, if I was weak in memorizing things, if I had weak memory, or if I choose not to remember everything, I would not remember everything, but I would remember just one thing, which is most important and which nobody will never forget. That is, the ceasefire was announced by Donald Trump between two big powers, between two big nuclear powers, reduced as kids. Come on, shut up, kids. Shut up, kids. I had to wake up all the night. This is what Trump wrote in his Truth Social. I had to work all the night. Come on, shut up now. It's okay. Now ceasefire. Okay, yes, now I have declared ceasefire. But this is the crux of whole thing, and this has to be remembered. You can forget about everything. What I wanted to say is, so as a result, what happened in this war, as wars are always transparent. You see who is going ahead, who is losing, who is winning. In this war, there's not much transparency. I mean, we were happy Pakistan, there was something, whether it was Pakistan's might or whatever, there was something which stopped India, because India was going whole hog. India was going on the escalatory ladder. If the power who is going on the escalatory ladder, if they agree to stop, if they agree for a ceasefire, that is defeat. So this was in that sense, it was a defeat for India. But what happened, we exactly do not know. And it was said that so many other powers also intervened. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran, and the representative of IRNA, Islamic Republic News Agency in Islamabad, he called on the Prime Minister Shahbaz, and Shahbaz Sharif thanked them. And this going to Tehran was again connected to that Iran has played a very vital part in this. India, Pakistan, what happened, Iran has played a very good part, very vital role. And if you had seen the joint press conference of Dr. Pezeshkian and Shahbaz Sharif talked about it, and he talked about Kashmir as well. I must tell you that these things are highly choreographed. They are highly vetted by professionals. So many times it happens when two dignitaries meet, they do not reach any clear conclusions, and they say we don't have a joint communique today. We will not address a joint press conference. But here a joint press conference was held, which means definitely things had gone very well. They had very good, productive negotiations. Then what is said in the press conference, that script is minutely vetted by professionals of both sides. So if Shahbaz mentioned about Kashmir, it was vetted by Iranian authorities. I mean, this is. I was just talking to someone yesterday. I said, I don't go too much on the words. Words are for consumption. Words are a public thing. We have to see the circumstances, the circumstantial indicators. Now, this is an indicator that if Shahbaz mentions Kashmir, and Shahbaz mentioned Kashmir in a way in which nobody in Pakistan so far they haven't mentioned. He did not talk about Simla agreement as if that was a child never born, as if it never existed, although it existed. Shimla agreement was there, but now no, it's nowhere. And when it was suspended, I congratulated my all friends that it's cancelled and suspended. So Shimla agreement was not brought up. Shahbaz Sharif spoke about a 1954 resolution in Indian Parliament, where Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister then, had promised a plebiscite to Kashmiri people. And he said, in light of those and United Nations resolution, we want the Kashmir resolution. And he said it in the press conference. And as Shabir has just pointed out about this border of Pakistan and Iran, so many third parties, including India, they want to take advantage, they want to create a rift between Pakistan and Iran. And as a matter of fact, the different segments of Pakistani state, they have been aiding those people who have created destruction in Iran. They killed our dear brother, the deputy head of IRGC. He was martyred by someone who came from that place, who came from Pakistan. So Pezeshkian made it clear that this border should be safe, and the enemy is taking otherwise advantage of this. And that Shahbaz was granted an audience with the Supreme Leader is again a big thing, is again very significant. Not everyone is granted this audience. So we are looking for very good things in that region and very good things for Kashmir also. Because just when ceasefire happened, Pakistan has proposed a dialogue to India. And India, as it used to do before 7th of May, Pakistan would propose and India would say, no dialogue at all, terror should stop. They have not responded so far. And Modi, when he spoke after these strikes and after all this operation, he said, yes, we will talk. We will talk about POK, but nobody gives a damn to it. I mean, what's important is that they will talk. And I believe now that Iran will be playing a good role. Iran has already played a role. Now it is for a bigger role, and it's very good that this is happening, because this is creating a lot. This is, this sort of, if you call something the ecosystem, it creates a better ecosystem for the Muslims in Pakistan, in Iran. These things, they're coming together. And this was a very high level. The army chief was also there. Now, as Shabir has also referred to the internal situation of Pakistan, which all we know, and we all know that who is Shahbaz, what is this government. But leaving that aside, at the moment, Iran has treated him as Prime Minister, whosoever it is. It is the Prime Minister. And he is, as a matter of fact, he is Prime Minister. Now, Pakistani commentators, I mean, they will say Forum 47, and that's true, but it was not Forum 47 there. It was Shahbaz was the Prime Minister, and the Field Marshal was also there, the Asim Munir, and he had a meeting with the Chief of the Army of Iran. So these are very good things happening. And Pezeshkian, in his opening remarks, he supported the ceasefire, and also he said that Iran wants it to hold because there is I mean, India cannot break it. I told you in an earlier program, it's absolutely ironclad. India cannot break it. But India is not still reconciled to Pakistan because India considers Pakistan a problem. So India is thinking of so many other ways how it will get rid of the problem. And it's very good if Pakistan, I mean, that suits Pakistan's geography also, culture and history also. If Pakistan aligns more itself to Central Asia, Iran, the West Asian sort of bloc rather than South Asia, it suits Pakistan geography also. So if that thing happens, that will be good for future, and that will be good for the uh, you know, I don't know what we often talk in terms of percentage, but we know India has over 1 billion people. Pakistan has also about 300 million or uh, uh, whatever. So a huge population lives there, and it's a good omen, and it's good for the whole region.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indarabi, and thank you so much, Shabir Bhai, for being with us on the show tonight. I'm really very grateful for that. And to the viewers, I would say, as our prestigious guest mentioned, that it's really a good sign that Iran and Pakistan are coming closer to each other in different ways. So I hope and we all pray that it would bring positivity, peace, justice, and stability for the region, inshallah. So don't forget the people of Gaza and keep talking about it and supporting it. Look after yourself. I'll see